Hi, Karen. Happy Monday. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. It is my touchstone of normalcy in what is happening right now in the world. So, hello. Thank you for showing
Ooh.
up.
Oh my gosh, Katie, it is always wonderful to see you. Uh, yeah, you were much more eloquent than I am capable of being right now. I just have sounds right now. I just have
Yeah.
guttural sound. I just
Yes.
sound like Woodstock from the Charlie Brown cartoon. Ah.
Oh my gosh. Uh,
Yeah.
well, here we are. Friend. I mean, you texted me this morning. Okay, so for everyone to know, we're recording this on Monday, November 11th, and we haven't seen each other in 3 weeks because
That's
if all
right.
of you have been listening, we did a marathon recording session on October 23rd. So the last time we talked, Karen, we didn't know what was happening. We obviously, had some feelings, and
Yeah.
now we do know what's happening, and here we are. And how are we? I don't even know how to answer that question. Yeah.
No. I feel like we're all moving through the stages of grief and fight, flight, or freeze, or I feel like we all kind of went numb. Everybody I talked to, I feel like spent at least a few days just feeling numb.
Yes.
And really, I feel like the numbness obviously was to protect us from how we were actually feeling. And now that the feelings are coming in, it's just like, no, numb's good. Let's do numb. Cool,
Let's
cool,
let's
cool.
stick with
Numb.
numb. Yeah.
Numb is
Let's just let's
awesome.
let's stop at that moment of grief. Yeah, that stage. We don't need to hold the other four or whatever it is, six. And I can't remember how many stages of grief.
I
I
think
think
it's
there's.
six, and numb is not one of them.
Oh, it's not. Okay. That maybe that's pre-grief. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just numb, shock. Um yeah. So do you want to go through how we felt? I mean, I can like how you knew. Did you look at the news on Tuesday night? I can tell you what happened with me as well, but go ahead, Karen. Where
I
were you at home?
I was and I was working and
Okay.
I have mixed feeling. I'll be honest. I mean, okay, obviously listeners, we do not script our episodes. I have mixed feelings because I feel like this is coming out November 18th.
Correct.
Where are our heads? Like, I don't do people I don't know. I don't want to relive it. I'll be honest. I
Yeah.
don't. I
Okay.
just don't. I feel like
Yes.
I was working and had gone to bed and hadn't even put my head on the pillow and happened to check my phone one last time and was up and worked another 3 hours
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we had a work meeting at 1 a.m. So I don't, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I think thank you for that.
I
That's
don't know.
obviously incredibly valid to not want to relive it. For me, I was in Phoenix. I was there for a work trip,
That's
and
right.
yeah, I was nervous about being in a swing state on the election, and then I felt really positive, and then I didn't. And then I think the shock wore off about probably like 48 hours of full
Mm.
shock, which I was just grateful to, or I guess just lucky to have such a significant distraction, like have to be at the session and the session and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I think that for me though, I have, I'm, how do I say this? I am coming face to face with different parts of myself that I don't
Mm.
think I
Mm.
have experienced before right now. So, for example, one of the very first sessions at this conference was, like there's all these panelists on the stage. And anyway, the moderator walked up to the stage, and white woman, long blonde hair, full Barbie vibes, honestly, not trying to be mean to other women. And she was wearing a red dress, and she was walking like a peacock.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Gross.
like legit. Like she was so beaming, beaming. And my immediate thought was she's definitely a Trumper. My second thought was like, Katie, why are you, you don't even know her. She's not wearing a MAGA hat, like you don't even,
Like,
am I
you know.
canceling the color red? Like, are we not allowed to wear red anymore?
Oh,
And
God.
it was just the weirdest feeling, Karen. And so then I was like, but then unfortunately, she actually wasn't so great on the panel. And like, it kind of was a shit show of a panel. But anyway, the point is that later, or I guess I'll just fast forward to being at the Seattle airport 3 days later. And my stage of grief at that point had moved past shock into full rage.
Yeah.
Like a level a million out of 10. And I was at the Seattle airport super, super early. It was like pre 8 a.m. basically, and wearing a mask. And honestly, I was giving rage eyes to every single person that I passed because I was like, did you vote for him? Did you vote for him? Did you vote for him? Tell me, did you? I mean, Karen, I was so angry that I was just like, what is this? Like, and it's not, I've never, like, I think I just, and I'm not trying to like put myself on some sort of like proverbial pedestal. Genuinely, I'm not. I really try to think that everyone is good in the world. Like, I think that is how I get through the day in general. And that this was antithetical to all of that. And I was just like,
Mm.
oh, some of you fucking suck. And like, I hate you. Like, seriously, that's like how I felt. And so I was so taken aback by my own rage at these random people just walking around the Seattle airport doing nothing wrong. Um,
Mhm.
that I texted a couple of my girlfriends and I told them, and they were just like, they met me with love and they were like, we understand, we're sorry that you're in pain. And they were very nice. And I think that's where I'm at right now, Karen. And I'm just, yeah, I think it's also
Mm.
like a really, uh, it's like this piece for me as a white woman where like people, other minorities have experienced that level of like, I don't know. It's just like, it's such a position that I'm in. I don't know how to say this properly, but
Mm.
like, just like that, like, this is not new in other demographics.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that was very, yes, a very vivid, it's like description. And yeah, all I can think is like, I mean, I just feel like, again, this is too simple, but I feel like as a Black queer person, I had to make a very conscious decision relatively early on in my adulthood whether or not I was just going to be mad all the time or I wasn't.
Yes.
Because I mean, yeah, a constant state of rage, a constant state of understanding that our culture, our society, our government was not built for me, does not have my best interests in mind. And yeah, I mean, just all of it, just the full weight of knowing that oppression against me is baked into every single thing that we do all day, every day. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I try to hold space for people to be angry. And I also have I don't know, I have a lot of feelings about it, but thank you for expressing.
Yeah, no, I so appreciate you explaining your experience. Like as an adult, you had to choose
Yeah.
to be upset all the time. And what is the like to, I mean, you are such a light-filled person, Karen. Like truly.
Thank you. It again, I think some of it is just like genetics, like you're just, set point of just like who you are as a person. And I do think some of it is years of therapy and years of conversations with people like you and friends like you and also just this choice. Like I really could just be mad all the time. And I am mad all the time. But like where does that get me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And I
Yes.
also, yeah. Yeah.
Totally. And what can I ask, like you said, you're trying to make space for people's anger. Is there a but after that? Or like, do you feel like you want to, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I am trying to make space for people's anger and I mean, 2016 happened, 2017 happened, the women's marches all happened, and then people moved on.
Yeah.
How nice it must be for you to just go back to your life.
Yeah.
The rage, the outrage, the how dare, all of these things, when it really comes down to it, not you, but like people get to hide behind, and I have my own privilege, right? Like I'm a middle class person. I have all of these things going for me. And I just recognized that, like, really, when it came down to it, I was surrounded, at least at that time, by people who weren't really interested in anything except their own rage.
Mm,
Were completely uninterested in hearing about anybody else's experience.
interesting.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. And that I would imagine that doesn't land well when like that sounds horrible.
yeah. Yeah. I did write a column about it for Rebellious, and I will just say, oh my God, what did I forget? I think it was a love letter from your black friend, is what I called it. And I just pointed out to people that, like, people would rant, especially in the women's business community around that time. People would rant and rave about all of these things that straight white men would do to them. And I was like, yeah, but mama, you're doing that to me.
Yeah.
You're cutting me off. You're not letting me speak. You're trauma dumping all of your nonsense. Like, yeah, I don't,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. How is this election landing for you, Karen? Like, how are you doing?
Oh my God. I really, I do feel partially still numb.
Do you?
Yes. And I feel, um, I feel like my brain is still processing and trying to decide what to do next. And I want to be able to respond and not react.
Hmm.
Like, I want to be really thoughtful. And unfortunately, we work in a business when that's deadline oriented, that is very much about a snap. Like, the immediate thing is the thing. The faster you are, the better. All of that. Journalism does not lend itself to thoughtful, like, take a minute and think about it analysis, right? And I feel like I'm having to really, like, fight this, the urge, and the people around me who are moving really quickly. It's just like, I don't want to react to this. Like,
Hmm.
how do we respond to it in a way that's thoughtful and that's not emotional?
Totally. What is the difference between reacting and responding? Is reacting kind of like what you're saying, like it's just a fast, like kind of like thoughtless in a way, like, like emotional? Is that like knee
Yeah.
jerk type of thing? Is that what you mean?
Yes, like the immediate, like that, like the emotional response to it and reacting. Yeah, I feel like it's the immediate thing. It's your lizard brain rather than you're
Yeah,
like, okay, this is happening. And now what do we do about it?
totally. 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 Oh, yeah.
How are you feeling now? All right, so we're almost a week out. How are you feeling now?
I mean, I think I feel like, I mean, what you're saying in terms of reacting versus responding is resonating with me. I think I'm trying to figure out how to gather community in this
Mm,
place because I think that's what I go to. And like, I think that's what I go to. Like, I see the people around me struggling with siloed thinking and loneliness and despair and all of these things. And I just think that so much of it can be um at least helped by being in community. And I think that's the part that I'm thinking about. And I,
yeah.
I have some ideas around it of how to create things or create projects around this or something like that. Um, I'm doing okay. Tyler's not. He's really not. Like
Oh,
he's
damn.
he's having a really hard time. And but also like a lot of people I think are. And I think it's just I think it's, I think, I don't know. I guess I don't really have a lot of coherent thought around it. And yeah, it's just, whew, it's just, it's
Yeah.
hard. There's not a lot of words, you know? But I think that your point about reacting versus responding is so important because I think everything I'm seeing and everything I'm noticing is about reacting. And I think that, we've talked about this quite a bit, but like, just watching the consumption of things that I'm, looking at news, all of it. I mean, I know that like for you, like, that is the world at work. And so like I can't imagine. And it's like I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to focus on the things that are in my home that I can love and
Mm,
like my dogs, honestly,
mm,
you know.
mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how I'm doing. I guess I don't really have an answer. I
I
wish I did.
know.
I wish I had like an articulate 3 sentences, but I don't.
Ugh. No,
Yeah.
I get it. I feel like this conversation is helping me. Like, yeah, how am I feeling? And I think I also like just draw upon my history, my family history, my community history. Like you're saying, building community. I also am like, we should talk about that because I also have a lot of ideas about building community. And I feel like, and I've seen a lot of headlines saying this same thing, but like I just haven't been reading them because I have my own feelings about it. But I just feel like I don't know. There's something to this notion of like things have never really gone the right way for.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like I just feel like we had Obama, we had the first black president, and everybody was like, we're post-racial, all this nonsense that people said. And then who got to be president right after him?
yeah.
Right? Like, and I just, I don't know. I feel like I just draw upon this idea of like, what can I control and how do I want to be in the world and how do I want to show up in the world? And
Yes.
I can't control that the arc of history is not bending toward justice, it's bending toward meanness and capitalism and greed and ugliness and bias and prejudice and all this shit. Like, all right, so how do I keep my own arc bending toward like how do I want to be in the world? How do I want to show up? That is what I can control.
Yes. Thank you for that, Karen. I think that is so kind and wise, and I appreciate you sharing it because I also agree. It's like that is the only thing that we can control. Like, how do we want to show up? Like, do we want to show up as these angry people? I mean, I want to honor the feelings that we have, and I don't want to push them down and blah blah blah. And I want, I love what you're saying about how do I want to show up. And I think it's like, I'm like sitting with different ideas. Like I'm just sitting
Mhm.
there and I'm like, okay, how does this feel? Is this how I want to show up? Like, is this, I mean, yeah, I worry about making mistakes. I worry about
Yeah.
trying and also making mistakes and not trying and not, like it's better to try and, hopefully not to harm, but ugh. Yeah, it feels heavy. And I think, like in terms of like what has been reported about what he's going to do when in office, like, it's just interesting. Like I have to remember that there are people who do believe in justice that are out there. And like you and I are here, Karen, there are people who love us and are aligned in values and all of it. And it's just a lot of them. There are tens of millions actually. So
Yes,
gotta
exactly.
remember that.
For what was the number? I forget what the number is, but yes, it's a big number. It is, and I also I understand. I mean, I'm in a I'm in a blue bubble. I have the luxury of speaking from a, you know, blue bubble. I call our governor America's dad, JB Pritzker, right? Like,
He
I think
kind of is.
Democrats, I mean, he is. My God, I just during the pandemic, I'd just be like, Yeah, come on, champ, just wear your mask. Like I just feel like that was what JB was giving.
Totally, totally. He's great.
So yeah, I just I feel like I also want to look at I guess I want to look at states where it feels like things are working. Like you're saying, that there are people whose values are aligned to ours who are doing what they can and look and I guess just not its solution seems too simplistic, but it's just like, okay, well, if we don't believe in mass deportations, then what do I believe in?
Hmm.
Right? If I don't believe that Obamacare should be fucking repealed, how are we even talking about this anyway?
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, how do I feel about these things? And how do I, what does it look like to behave in a way that supports those things?
Yes. Versus always bitching about what the, people who are not aligned in values believe. It's like what does that accomplish? Like
Yeah.
what does that it accomplishes more division. And it's like, yes, I love what you're saying in terms of just focusing on solutions. Or yeah, I know you said not to use that
Yeah.
exact word, but like, focusing on what you do believe versus just like reacting again to what you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, yeah, I really, I was listening. Yeah, I was just listening to podcasts this morning and just like, okay, just trying to take it all in again and take in as much information as I can stand and yeah, just be informed. I feel like that's the other thing that um feels important right now is to find that balance between that we always joke about the balance between being sane and being well informed. Like
Yes,
I don't want to not know what's going on. I feel like the low information voter was the enemy of the people, one of the many enemies of the people in this election.
correct.
So I don't want to be that person.
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Well, ay. Okay, so how do we go from here? Like this is
um,
I agree. I agree about like the like the non-educated voter and I just
or
yeah.
even low information. I feel like
Low information.
right, like just this idea, like I'm just gonna vote on vibes.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh my God.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
sense that people are just like, no, no, this person's gonna be better for this part of my life. So that's what I'm going with.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
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 Mm.
The one thing that I saw in the Rebellious newsletter today was,
Ooh.
and I need to read it. So, full disclosure, I haven't yet. I'm going to click on it tonight after I'm done with work. Is a piece from 2016 that one of the writers for Rebellious wrote about regretting unfriending their family members. Are you willing to talk about that, Karen? Because I think that's a really interesting concept that a lot of people are grappling with right now.
Absolutely. And I republished that. I think it's from 2020.
Oh,
I
okay. Yeah, that makes
republished it.
sense.
Jerry Brown, one of our columnists, um, because it was getting traffic. We weren't promoting it. We weren't doing anything with it, but people were finding it again.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jara has really conservative family members, and I feel like just, did the thing that a lot of people did and was just reflecting on, oh, okay, here's how I wish I had been able to engage with those people or I feel like poses a lot of good questions, no spoilers, but I feel like as a very thoughtful, I thought that was, I mean, it's such a good column. Obviously people are finding it again 4 years later, but yeah, a lot of good things to say about how do you stay in community with people you don't agree with. And I think I really, yeah, I'll just stop there.
I mean, I would love to know your thoughts on this if you are willing to share. I think for me, I think I've been reactionary. I think that I am reactionary and I just don't want anything to do with people who voted for him. And yet, what's interesting for me is that a lot of people in my life are telling me about people in their lives, inner circle their lives, who voted for him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that my inner circle someone didn't. Like I think that, I got a voice message from someone today that was talking about how she is in the theater community, and she was talking about how there's so many people in her life, and she's like, most of the ones that voted for him, she said, she thinks that they're too ashamed to admit it to her. And
Mm.
it was or just haven't admitted it. Who knows if it's a shame thing or not, but I think that piece is something that many, 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 many people are grappling with right now, of like the surprise that like someone that they know well might do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm having this weird thing happen. I think maybe Dr. Tanya maybe has finally gotten to me.
Good.
I think eight visits in, I feel like
I need that,
Tanya.
Karen, because I am bringing this pod down.
No,
So
no, no.
please, please.
I feel like I am too, first of all, okay, there are too many of them. There are too many people we know. He won the popular vote this time. There are too many people who voted that way to avoid them anymore. That's the first thing I think. And then I think, again, Tanya got to me. Like, I if I don't want people who don't agree with me to think that I'm an idiot, that I am an elitist, that I don't care about their lives, that I don't care about the unborn, that I whatever, then I can't do that to them. If I don't want you to make all of these assumptions about me because I'm black and queer and all of these things, then I actually can't fucking do that to you. And it sucks because I really want to, but I can't do it. And I think I just feel tired of, like, quote unquote, the polarization. I'm tired of
Yes.
us not being able to even be civil. Like, and I think I just feel like I've had a lot of things recently, like kind of informing this, and our conversations are part of it. Part of it is that I heard a New York Times, Ezra Klein is a New York Times columnist, right? It was a
Yeah, yeah.
podcast, was talking about in the prior administration and in business, and just his MO is to pit people against each other and watch them fight
Oh,
for
what?
sport and for power and for, oh, I'm telling you this, but I'm not telling so and so.
Wait, sorry.
Like
And you mean him by Trump or
Trump,
him by, okay,
yes.
not Ezra. We're
So
not talking
as
about Ezra.
a
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Sorry. So the former president, the president elect, as a business person, as a leader, part of his approach, if you will, leadership approach, is to pit people against each other because there is a lot of power to be gained, right? When people are infighting,
Yeah.
like how much more power does that give you when you've got everybody fighting each other?
Yes.
And I just feel so manipulated into everybody. Like we're fighting with people we don't even know. We're mad at
Yes.
people we don't even know.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Thank you, Karen. Seriously. Like hearing your thoughts is really helping. I hope I think it's going to help a lot of people who are listening too, because you're right, of course. Like to if you don't want them to feel that way about you, we don't need to feel that way about them. Like we're all human beings. I mean, like, we are all good. I know that that's like what I started this with, talking about how I was rage staring at everybody at the Seattle airport. Like, I'm not proud of it. That is where I was. And yeah, I wish I would have talked to you before I went into the airport because I think it would have helped. But you're so right. I think it's hard sometimes to have that level of clarity and articulation about it. So thank you.
Well, I'm glad it's helpful. Again, I'm still making sense of it myself. I think, yeah, I also wonder for me how much of it is being back home in my hometown
Oh,
because, Homewood is very diverse now, but it was not when we moved here 40 years ago. And um it's funny. So I was with as you know, I was with two of my best friends from high school
yeah.
over the weekend, right? We did this girls trip and I found this high school photo album
Oh my gosh.
and I took it with me, right? And oh my God, we were just like dying. Oh my God, dying at these photos and flipping through it and be like, oh my God. And then, this person's name would just like come out of your brain from 30, 35 years ago. I've not thought of you in 35 years. I'm looking at your homecoming photo and now I have your name again, right?
Unbelievable. Totally.
And it was like my friend Alex was looking at this girl and was just like, why do I have a weird bad memory of this girl? And I said, oh, because her family was super fucking racist and
Oh,
thought it was really funny. Like I
what?
went to this girl's house all the time. I hung out with that girl. I was like very good friends with that girl. And her dad and her brother used to say crazy, crazy racist shit to me
Oh,
all the time.
oh my
It was
God.
just their joke.
Oh my
And
God.
growing up here as a Black person, I had to just be like, okay, I just feel like you become the other and you just again make a decision like I mean, it's not even a decision at some point, but like, I don't know. You just have to, I feel like part of it for me is also holding like, I went to school with people who were my friend, right? Who also had, like, I don't know how this girl felt about it. She certainly didn't tell her family not to say this crazy shit in front of me, but we were 10 years old. So, but I feel like just like growing up here was just like, yes, you are my friend, quote unquote, my friend. But when it comes right down to it, you would sell me for $1, right? Like, so I feel like that's also part of it, like just the complexity of people and yeah, just having to hold that
Yeah.
and all of
Wow.
that resurfacing for me, like fucking being back here.
Right. Like, how does that feel being back in Homewood? Like, it must be, have you, please tell me you have not run into this I mean, maybe you want to run into her. I don't know. Have you seen this?
No, no, I haven't run into anybody, knock on wood. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, when Homewood is now like 45% Black, 45% white, and, other 10% like everybody else.
Yeah.
But when I went to my high school, it was 80% white.
Wow.
So, and that 20% was everybody. Like
Wow.
lots of South Asian kids, lots of East Asian kids, teeny, teeny, tiny numbers of Black and Latino kids. And so, yeah, I feel like it's much more diverse now, like I said. And so I feel like it actually has been really nice to come back here and have a different experience and to like, I mean, I've said this before, like I live in a part of Homewood where that was redlined when I grew up here. I live in downtown Homewood and Black people didn't live here because we weren't allowed to. When I grew up here, I am 49 years old. We were not allowed on this part of town.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
not even
just,
long ago at
no,
all.
it's not. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's weird.
Wow. To have a different experience of the same place, though. Like, would you label that as like almost like a healing, or is it just different?
I think it's approaching healing. I don't know if I can make sense of it yet because I just
Yeah.
feel like I wasn't really planning to come back here. So I feel like I'm still yes, but yes. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting
Wow.
there.
Yeah. This has been such a good conversation, Karen.
My
Thanks for
gosh.
having it. This is Yeah, we're sending everybody love. We hope y'all are okay. We hope you took away some beautiful, beautiful gems from this convo. And yeah, we'll see everybody next week.